So, welcome to this Cycling Life Leadership Bites. My name is Jamie Anderson, and today I'm delighted to have on the call two of my dear friends from India, Bikey Venky, who we're going to introduce in a moment, and Ramandeep Singh. Today, what we're going to be talking about is cycling in India, how it's growing, where it's heading, and we'll also be talking about how do you get into the sport of cycling if you are living in India. So, Venky, over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Venky, Venkateswara Rao N. Friends call me Venky and Bikey Venky in cycling circles. I work in Bangalore like most people in IT industry. And while I am not in front of computer, I am usually on my bike, enjoying a bit of outdoors.
That's great. And Venky's being a little bit humble because I think he's probably one of the most high-profile masters cyclists in India. He's been, of course, competing and training and riding in India for a long time. His Facebook page is fabulous. And of course, he's also competed outside of India. How about you, Ramandeep?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ramandeep, and I belong to Jammu and Kashmir, India. And currently, I work in Mumbai, and I've been living in Mumbai for the past 6 years. I've been around. I've been friends with Jamie for about 2 years now, and I'm looking forward to getting into the cycling life. So that's about
Cool.
it.
So Ramandeep, we've been talking about cycling for some time. Ramandeep supports Mick and Alan and I. We work together as a team on this cycling life. And of course, as we all know, there was a very, very famous American-Sikh cyclist, a guy called Alexi Grewal. Did I say that right, Ramandeep?
Yes, yes.
Who was an Olympic medalist in the 1980s. So Ramandeep's got a little bit inspired by Alexi's story, and his hope is to be the next flying Sikh. So let's see how he does with this one. Venky, it'd be good to hear from you just about your life. I mean, you grew up in India. Were you always sporty, and how did you find yourself into cycling?
It's actually, I've always been the opposite of sporty. As a kid, I was a very healthy-looking kid, as in, quite fat. Always been on the chubbier side right through, and I've never been really healthy. In the sense I've always had, as a kid, also I have always had health issues, mostly breathing issues, bronchitis, and stuff like that. I've carried that, both the obesity and the asthma and the bronchitis issues right through my adulthood.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that because you showed me photos of you from some years ago, and you really were overweight. You were very unhealthy, and so what triggered this interest in cycling in particular?
When I was 33 years old, this was quite a while back now, that is 11, 12 years ago. My wife was pregnant with our first kid, and when on my birthday, I went out to a mall where there was a weighing machine, and I was checking my weight, and it gave me the height, weight, and BMI and everything. It told me that I was 20 kilos overweight. More than that, the thought that I was not taking care of myself, and I'm bringing a new kid into this world, and about to start a family. The thought that if I didn't take care of myself and my health, how am I going to take care of my family? That thought really hit home, that I need to, buckle up and really take care of my health first, and so that I can take care of my family.
Okay.
So that's.
But I mean, I understand you really understood that as a dad, and many people do. I know many guys in their cycling who are coming into it in their late 30s or 40s for many of the reasons you talked about. But it's not like cycling is the most common popular sport in India. So why cycling instead of jogging or tennis or cricket or something like that?
When I started my fitness journey, I did not start with cycling, but after losing about 16 kilos in 8 months, I thought of integrating exercise with something that I did every day, that is commuting to work. So I actually picked up cycle to commute to work, so that I can, maintain the weight that I lost before that. So
Wow,
that's how
that's pretty
yeah.
interesting, Venky. So tell us, what do you like most about cycling in India? What are the challenges and what are the unique aspects about cycling in India? What do you find interesting?
So the advantages of cycling in India is that we have weather that we can ride throughout the year, and we have great roads. Contrary to popular belief, we have ample good roads that we can cycle, and there are fantastic scenery and varied terrain, lot of hills and stuff that is really good for cycling.
But
So
Venkey, you're saying you can cycle all year round, but you're living in Bangalore, which has quite a nice climate. I guess the people living in Delhi might not agree with you on that one.
In Mumbai as well.
yeah,
And yeah, lives in Mumbai. And tell us, because
yeah.
you mentioned the good road, because I have, as I've cycled quite a lot in India, and of course, there's a big difference between urban cycling in the city, and what you've mentioned, which is some of the wonderful roads and rural areas outside of a city like Bangalore. So how did you find your way, sort of, in terms of meeting up with other people, knowing where to ride, just learning, I guess, the ropes of road cycling?
So it's most of the learning happened online, through online forums. We used to have a forum called Bike Zone back when I started, and then we discover events like Tour of Nilgiris through that, and sign up for those events and meet other riders. There used to be a couple of meetup forums online where we used to plan rides. So that's how we found other riders within the city and started riding together.
Yeah,
That's pretty
great.
great. That's pretty great. So Venky, what are the four or five quick pieces of advice that you would give a young cyclist like me who's just starting out into cycling, or maybe what's the advice that current Venky would give the younger Venky when he started out biking?
I would say get a good bike that fits you, because getting a wrong bike can throw you off. And then maybe get someone to guide you how to go about it, because building up slowly without injuring yourself is important. So yeah, those are the things that you need to take care of.
Yeah, and of course in Bangalore you have terrific guys like you've got Crankmeister, of course, the bike shop there that can help people getting into the sport on fitting and the introduction as well. I mean, how have you seen cycling evolving, particularly competitive road cycling evolving in India over the last few years, Venky, and where do you see it heading? You mentioned, for example, the Tour of Nilgiris, which is something that I've done, a multi-day competition, which is really open to all levels of cyclists, which is an incredible, fabulous event, covering some beautiful parts of the country. But how have you seen the sport, and particularly the competitive side of sport, evolving over the last few years, and where do you see it going from here?
I think from back when I started to now, there's been a sea change in terms of more number of events, more number of, at all levels. Right now, the events like Ironman also has come in, and events like Breves are very big. The ultra cycling events are very big now throughout India. In 2018, a couple of Indians have completed race across America, and that has also brought in a lot of interest in ultra cycling. Road cycling itself, a lot of amateur events like Bangalore Amateur Racing, Bangalore Bicycling Championships, and similar amateur club races all across, like Hyderabad and Ahmedabad, Delhi, all across. These have actually helped people stay motivated and keep training. So I think the progression has been quite good, but I think the ultra cycling scene and triathlon scene is going to be a lot more in the future than it is now.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramandeep, maybe you can talk about the fact, because you're having an indoor bike delivered soon. So have you got any questions for Venky about indoor cycling? Or, I mean, I'm curious also how, given the current COVID-19 situation, what you expect, Venky, in terms of indoor biking in India, because of course, given the traffic in many of the big cities like Mumbai, indoor cycling seems like a very good and well-suited sport for India. What's your view on that, Venky?
It's definitely indoor cycling is big. It's a big help for anyone, especially in cities. You cannot really go out and ride and hope to come back and go to work again.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on a weekday with all the traffic. So what I do is get on the trainer in the morning for an hour and a half before heading to work. Uh, with COVID-19 situation also, indoor cycling has apps like Zwift, RGT, cycling. All these have really helped, and not only keep training but also participate in races and stay motivated. I think indoor cycling is here to stay. The virtual cycling is here to stay, and virtual racing is also going to be quite big in future, also in India.
Yeah. Thanks for that insight, Venky. But I feel this must be easier for you now because you have seen results and you are in the knack of it, of cycling and everything. But how was the journey when you started? It must have been very difficult to motivate yourself every day, to get up on your bike and ride every day when you're not seeing results every day. The results are not coming and you're still feeling not motivated. So what did you do? What was your plan that time?
That's where having goals is very important, and having those goals, the events that we have, amateur events that we have in our city, become the basis for those goals. We are fortunate enough in Bangalore that we have a couple of racing platforms that allow us to have races almost every month. If not once or two races per month. So it is very easy to have those, pick a race and have it as a goal and train towards it. Even back when I started, Tour of Nilgiris was a big aspirational goal for me. And then back in 2011, when I started training for it, it became a basis for my, big kind of a baseline for my cycling.
Thank you. Those were some good insights. What about you, JB?
That sounds like a good goal for you, Ramandeep. Maybe we set your first big goal being the Tour of Nilgiris.
Okay,
that sounds like a good one. We put that on your goal calendar for the plan, and then we like to see you climbing up to Uti and those famous tea plantations, those long climbs. I
hope to bump into Alexi Grewal on the way.
Well, we'll see. Well, of course, Alexi has participated in the Tour of Nilgiris
previously. I was fortunate to ride with him in 2018 TFM.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have him on a future episode of This Cycling Life to give Ramandeep some encouragement also. That's great. I mean, Venky, we've been talking a lot about cycling, but we haven't mentioned specifically women's cycling. And that was something that I was really impressed with when I did the Tour of Nilgiris, that there were many female participants as well. So what have you observed there with the number of women coming into the sport?
More recently, there are more women coming up in the sport, both young and, into adult, both young girls and women. I think from the numbers have constantly been increasing, but when compared to the other, the male cyclists, it's not as big. we would still love to see a lot more women out there. Fortunately, some of the women have been very pivotal in community building, spokeswomen has been a good group here in Bangalore, which encourage other women to join in for group rides, and they do, every weekend they go out with big, 10, 15 women together for group rides. So that helps when such groups form and encourage other women.
That
I
sounds
think,
great.
yeah,
Venky,
I
do you
think
think?
it is going to improve a lot in the future.
So, do you think, Venki, these groups are usually most, accumulated in Bangalore, or these are like across India? Like, do you have these groups in Mumbai as well, like all these women groups and men groups who are cycling and doing these races?
Yeah, I think at various scales, it's there across all different cities in India. But
Okay,
here I have seen it to be quite effective.
okay.
Great. Okay, I think our time's almost up. So thank you, Cycling Venky, for joining this Cycling Life, for sharing your experience with us. We'll be sure to have you on a future episode also. As we've mentioned, Ramandeep Singh is in training. His Watt bike will be arriving in Mumbai soon. We're going to be supporting him with some coaching. The Tour of Nilgiris will certainly be a goal for him in the not too distant
Excellent.
future. So thanks everyone for joining us. If you do like this video, please do give us the thumbs up. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to seeing you on a future episode of this Cycling Life Leadership Bites. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
bye.